current status, what you guys are trying to do, so I can pitch that suits your current status and plans in terms of solar selling? Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, good. And yeah, yeah. And in terms of team and sales rep, how do you get your leads? If you can just show me, tell me, you got sales reps, I'm assuming, on the field? Oh, cool. Okay. 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 Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. To give you a bit of a background, I used to run solar company 10, maybe 8, 9 years ago. We had a lot of issues at that time. There was no computer system that really suited solar operations. We had maybe 10, 15 sales reps and a few hundreds of orders. So we looked around to see if any of the CRMs which could be modified, but we couldn't find any. So we started building it for our own in-house use many years ago, and it became quite. People started saying, "Why don't you sell it as a separate business?" So we stopped selling solar. We focused on developing the platform, this platform, and over 5 years, we had a few hundreds of solar companies use it, and it's because it's specifically tailor made to solar industry. It has been quite useful for a lot of people. Now you can see the screen all right there. Oh, cool. There is also an extension to the ECRM, so I'll just take a look, take you through that for a minute. It's called My Solar Toolkit. If you have sales reps in the field, they would probably love it. So what happens is you could do before the reps go to the field for a demo or whatever. So this is I'll just play a short video, 2 minute video, which tells you what it can do. It's only a 2 minute clip, so there should be. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but basically when you key in the address, you see the using the Google interface, it brings up the roof, and you can actually select the area of the roof where you can place panels. Um, can you see that? Or you can't see the video clip being played? Oh, I see. Okay, I'll send the link separately. Then I'll stop this. Yeah, because YouTube clip, maybe it's a bit of an issue. I'll play that. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. One second. One second. Yeah, I'm not able to get out of that. Okay. Okay, just yeah. What this does is, Glenn, I'll actually key in an address and actually do it for you. That's let's say I'll just key in an address here. Um, let's say this is me and phone number. Are you able to see the screen now? Okay, I'm just keying in a dummy address here to show you how the toolkit works. And then I can show you what the report does. Well, the reason I show that is if you have field sales reps, I've seen some really good feedback on this. Because when the sales reps go, very hard for them to really look up the roof and they're not going to go up on the roof, as you know. Um, okay, I'll have to show. Oh no, this is not working. Uh, okay. I'll straight go to the CRM now. The toolkit I think we'll have to handle it separately because it's requires a bit of an online password and things like that, which is I don't have. Okay, can you see the dashboard here, Glenn? Yeah, okay. The way it's organized is at the top, you will see different modules. One is solar leads management module here at the top end, and then it takes you to the quotation module, and then it's managing the orders, and then installations, and the reporting, and there's also a bit of a if you are basically using warehousing, there's a bit of a shipping and warehousing. I'll explain that to you later. And then the invoicing, and of course, there's a lot of system maintenance here where you can add a lot of predefined packages, like what they used to do is 5 kilowatt system to whatever, and then add a number of users. You can have about 7 to 8 different types of users. To give you an example, if you have a lead generator, either a door knocking team or a call center team or back office, front office people who create leads, they can be one type of users. They only get to create the lead and assign the lead to the sales reps and also advise the customers what time is the appointment, so that kind of stuff. And the other kind of user is a sales rep himself who will get leads assigned to him, and then he can create a quotation. I'll show you how the quotation is prepared. And then the other users are administrators, installers, and things like that. So it starts at the here left leads and goes all the way to post installation. You can also create individual tasks which require to be done for a particular order or lead. So there is a task management itself in this system. Now, in the leads, it's very solar specific in the sense you can define your own way of qualifying a solar lead, which is very typical. For example, I'll go to one here. You see a lead checklist here. These you can create your own customized checklist to get a better understanding of the customer. Like in this case, is it single story, double story? Is a decision maker agreed for appointment, and time frame for his decision making is now or 1 month or 2 months. This you can define this. So when a lead is assigned to the sales rep is knowledgeable about specifically about this customer. Average consumption per day is 15 kilowatt, or in this case, it was 15 kilowatt. And this is like you can define this any way you want, so that it's very specific. The way it works is the customer details are created here, and the lead details, and then the site details, and you can assign this lead with an appointment date and time to a particular rep, and it tells you the rate reps availability. So this is a typical, nothing new, nothing different to any CRM you would have for managing the appointments, right? The difference here is that when a lead is assigned, a customer gets, sales rep gets a notification with this kind of uh, solar data about that particular property, and also Bing map. So he can click right there and talk. If he was going to talk to the customer while on the road, he has a full information about the lead, not just a customer name and address. You know. So what happens in this instance if sales rep gets a email notification about this customer? Let's say there's an appointment for this rep. He can go and create a quotation for him on the fly, like where we moved from that lead, moved that lead across over to course module, and the data gets transferred here, and you can create a quote based on the CEC guideline. In this case, it's the, let's say, roof azimuth is 20 degrees, pitch is 20 degrees, 22, and if it's in this particular case, it was address was close to Brisbane, so it uses Brisbane CEC data and calculates the efficiency based on the orientation and the pitch. And in this particular case, it was, let's say, 15 kilowatt hours per day. And then what it does is, based on the efficiency, it recommends a system size of, in this case, 3.91, and that the sales rep can, make it 5 or 4, round it up, and then calculate what the savings are going to be based on that data. Like in this case, it gives a 25 years the savings estimate on those assumptions which are mentioned here, and this becomes a part of the quotation. I'll show you how the quotation looks in a minute. And then there are lots of payment types here, payment options: cash, finance, or rental. If it's finance, it'll ask you with deposit or without deposit, and then the period of finance, for example, strategy, let's say 50 months. And you can pick a package here, predefined package. For example, you can take a 5 kilowatt here, and then it brings up the package that you have defined already in the system, and it allows the sales rep to be upselling or offering a different range of products that you define. Let's say you pitched a 5 kilowatt Canadian system with SMA 5 kilowatt inverter. So it picks up the product from the system, and that's the price that you see here. This is the demo, so data is not really reflective, but gives you an idea how the whole flow works. And then if there are any specific extras, if it's a tile roof, double story, if it's needs a tilt, for example, if it's flat, you would do that anyway. And then you can also do for slightly larger installations, you can do what's called advanced financial analysis. System size is 5 kilowatt, and if you can use inflation data to be 7%, 5%, whatever, and do a more graphical representation of the how the tariffs will go up, and how the savings, monthly savings, cumulative savings, what would happen in this particular case if there is no solar. This is the energy costs if you don't have solar, whereas if you have solar, once it's paid back, it's a cumulative savings, and there's a lot of numbers behind it, which are printed here, and then the summary. So this can go as a part of a quotation to the customer. Attach it to email. Okay. And before finalizing the quote, if there are some extras that have not been taken into account, for example, you might have a cherry picker which is not in the standard costing. You might put that as an extra one here, or you can also use this for giving some discounts, like you can do it here. So this is basically customizing your cost, final agreed cost, and you can have a look at okay. That's your final quote, and I'll show you how it looks when it is sent as an email or a contract document, right? Sorry. Okay, the email has been sent, and I will show email how the email looks. This is a typical email that gets sent out to customer. This again is customizable. You can put your own pictures and words and company logo and company details, etc. So obviously, this is you initially when you start using, you'll customize this before sending it out to um, your customers. And similar to that HTML, there's also a contract which can be customized to a large extent with your own terms and conditions. That contract would look like this. At the top, you will have your company logo, um, and this is a typical contract that gets sent out. This terms and conditions, you will have to upload your own terms and conditions, and this can be digitally signed by the customer. So this is also quite designed for call center based telephone sales. Okay, and then when customer says yes, I'm ready to you can do a lot of things here. You can modify and resend the quotation if the customer says give me another option, and if there is something uh, which is not defined as a pre-existing package, then you can do a on-the-fly custom design. I'll show that to you here in a minute. So generally, the quotation takes about 5 minutes to be sent out. Either it can be done on site or it can be done back office. I think I have to create a new one for that. Okay. I'll do another one for you to show you how you can define your own, how the sales reps can create a quote on the fly, which is using a non-standard product, for example. Sorry. Is that quote building make sense to you, Glenn? I don't know what you guys do currently. Yeah. I am assuming you have an order book that the customers sales reps take them with them on, and they make a quote on site. Is it? Okay, here is the one. I'll show you how you can do a customized product. Okay, I'll just put a 20 kilowatt system. Okay, here, let's say, you see here, add a custom product. That's the one where you can choose non-standard, for example, 11 kilowatt system, and say you want to use a CSUN 270 watt inverter, let's say Goodby, 10 kilowatt, number of panels, I'm not sure how much is it, 11 to 70, let's say 30. I need to calculate that, it will throw me out otherwise. 11, 40, 41. 270 watts panel size, and the package price we put here would be net of your STC. Let's say you would sell it $13,000. That's the cash price. So that's what gets picked up here. If you can see at the right side, 13,000. Yeah. So you can also, this is just to show you that reps or a back office receptionist can do for inbound calls, for example, customized a non-standard product, right? So I'll go to quotes again, and if the customer is happy to proceed, sales reps can convert this code into an order. I'll show you a code we just created. Here, for example, we'll say place an order, right? So this code gets converted into an order and takes you to the orders module. So it's moved into orders here. It'll take further details required before it can be placed. Sales rep, let's say John Dunn's initial, and there's a lot of status codes we define throughout the CRM. For example, in the leads, when the leads come in, it'll be a new lead, and it goes through a number of stages before it gets into a code. Same thing with codes going into multiple stages. For example, first code, second code, follow up, and finally it becomes an order. And in the order stage, also it will be managed under different statuses. For example, initially it will be a new. Let me see what's there, or it's not okay to install because it's got to get approvals. You can define these status yourself, Glenn. So depending on how you operate currently, you can define either basic 4 status or maybe 10 status if it's more complicated. And let me see what here. Order date, let's say it's today's date. Okay, it does allow you to take the deposit, and you can also manage the profitability of the each order. If you are aware of the costs at this stage, you can have the hardware costs, sales costs, different costs. So it will allow you to calculate what's the net profit per kilowatt or net profit for this project. You can do that here, but we can do that a little later on. Have you had a look at any other software so far, Glenn? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there are a number of quoting platforms, of course, as you would know, but there's not anything that covers the complete process like what I'm showing you from leads to right to the installations. I'll show you how the installation is helps you manage the projects. Now it's come to the orders, right? Now this is the order that we just created. Um, it has got all the orders details, and there is something called order notes here. There's a lot of communication that takes place between the customer, back office, sales rep, installer. So all that can be logged here, which gets compiled. Test order CX wants install on Sunday, whatever. So that gets it gets right into the auto file as well as at the dashboard, where in the back office continuously somebody can see what's happening with different orders. This is the basic order details, and it has not been assigned to installer yet because the system is the order is not ready for installation. This is another thing that you might pay some attention to. You can define these control stages for each order at the company level. What we call is a process control or a sales stages. It's a new process. Has it got the grid approval? Has the site inspection been done? Has the deposit been received? So you can define up to you 5 or 10 such critical checks for before the order goes into yes, it can be installed. And once it's ready to install, you can assign this to an installer, and installer gets an automatic notification with a complete job pack. In the sense, job pack would have STC forms. It's got the EWR. I don't know what you use in South Australia. Grid connection form, EWR, and job pack, which basically lists all the comments. I'll show you how the job pack looks like in a minute. But this is the key part. When you have a lot of orders on hand, this helps extremely to the managing of multiple jobs that you have. I'll just show you in a minute. So for example here, you can pull out the orders based on status. Let's say we want to look at how many are okay to install, and then it brings up all the jobs, and then you can look at jobs by sales reps, jobs by payment options, and also if you have commissioned sales reps agencies, multiple agencies, some have call centers, some have door knocking sales, whatever. And the typical thing, order date ranges, these things are very useful to look at before install as well as after install. You know what I mean? And then if you go to the installation, once it's assigned to an installer, for example, we had just assigned this one, it's come up here. There are a few documents that get printed here. Now let's look at the summary sheet called job pack, and that gives the property address, map, and customer details, product details, and the whole lot of comments from the day the job was assigned until the job is ready for installation. There'll be a lot of updates, right? So those things come up here. So it's a good summary for the installer. Sorry, did you say something, Glenn? Hi, Braden. Yes, did you say something? This one? Now, what's the question? Yeah, this is digital in the sense it gets emailed to the installer and it's a PDF document. Uh, he can print it. Oh, this goes on to whatever device he's got, but it's not. This is not digitally signed. Only the quotation that's sent in the system can be digitally signed by the customers. The more used by the sales rep. Bren, I can't hear you clearly. What's that? He can upload documents for sure. No, here, for example, when install logs in, there's a option here to upload all the documents. Um, Upload document. It could be, in fact, yeah, mobile. It's right now we don't have a app as such, but they can log into the system on their phone, but through a browser. Yeah, you can. Yeah, yeah. But we don't have an app. If you're looking for an app on the mobile phone. Yeah. So here you can. What we do. Yeah, Braden. What's the question? Some are. Let me go back to the documents here. Quite a few of the documents are customizable, but this EWR, for example, or a grid connection form, they are standard documents from the grid owners. Like so there we just follow those formats. But the quotations, I don't know if you saw, I was showing quotations to Glen. Uh, like what? Which one? See, we have these documents here. For example, I'll show you EWR or maybe connection form. This is standard connection form that they use in Victoria. This is a standard required by the grid owner, so it looks like this when we finish it. This allows you to fill in all the documents, and this is the form required by the grid owners, like an SP Osnet. Can you message that here because I'm having difficulty hearing on this go to thing. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This form here can be filled on a laptop or a iPhone or an iPad. Yes, or the job pack, the one I showed you before. Hold on. Yeah, you can. For example, here, let's say when installer logs in, he doesn't see a lot of stuff that you see here. They only get to see the jobs assigned to them. So, for example, I'm assigning this job to an installer, and he gets to see this particular customer. And here goes down to documents, and he can pick up the pictures. Like now I do upload document here, and he can pick up pictures from his file and upload it. It's not the most user friendly on the mobile phone of, like an app, but it can do the job. But the good thing is across the platform, whether it's at leads, sales reps can upload the documents. Like you see here, I just upload one document, and it looks like this. I just uploaded this onto the customer's folder. So that facility to upload different kind of documents is available in all the modules. At leads, customers may send the energy bills. You might want to upload pictures of the switchboard. Same thing with the quotation and orders. You may have with the surgery approvals. Whatever documents you want to assign this to the customer, it can be uploaded here and kept aside. So you don't have to worry about any filing. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And 3 years down the track, if there's a warranty claim, you can come back here, look up the customer, check all the documents, signed contracts. So everything is going to be kept on the cloud. Yeah. So that's how the whole process goes. And then, of course, the number of reports you can define. I'll just show you one, for example. And these reports can be made to run every day, every week, fortnightly. Some of the things you can select. Um, I'll show you just one sample. For example, this is the fields you can pick and run a report. A report would look like this. It can be sent as an Excel spreadsheet or a PDF document, or it can be printed. This helps in tracking pending orders, for example, or quotations which have been pending follow up, and it helps in those situations. And or the installations where if you define status, and there are people who define status in 5 or 6 status in installation, and there you see here installation status. It says completed, installed, STC lodged, things like this, where pending, awaiting. Connection to the grid. So you can define all this stuff. So it helps you if you have a number of jobs. It really helps you put them into different buckets so that it can be easily addressed by the back office or installer or sales rep, whoever it is. That's how the whole. Yeah. Yeah. it, I'll show you. If you go to the leads, for example, I'll just pick a lead, how we can tag this lead. Sorry, I'll go here. Um, you see here, there's something called a lead source. You can define number of lead sources. That is, if you have a supplier of leads from internet or a call center or whatever. Similarly, you can have these identifiers. So if there are customers who have every customer has got a reference number here called CRN. So if this lead has come from a particular customer, you can put that CRN number here. So you know that this customer has come from other customer, or you can even put a name. So you can pull out all the leads that came through from one customer. So these identifiers can be used quite flexibly by different. For example, it's a promotional program you ran for 3 months. You can put a promotion code and things like that. So that it helps in here. And but the dashboard is not at the moment, because they're meant to be free format types, not like status where you can define status the way you want to. But the identifiers are more like short-term, interim tags. Now this is the dashboard here. It gives you a snapshot of orders. If you define the 10 different status, how many of them are in this status, how many kilowatts, and month to date. And also in this calendar is quite a useful calendar. You can see three different things here. Four. You can see sales appointments for the sales reps. You can see quotations given before but pending follow-up. Let's say, for example, some customer needs to be followed up today, will show up here. And installations booked, and also if there are any tasks assigned with the due date. So in this calendar, in the back office, it gives you a full picture of what's happening across the board, what's pending coming up tomorrow in color coded. So this is a demo, so it doesn't have a lot of data, but that's how it looks. You can also pull out only, sorry, Insula. There's this one, yeah. So it takes you, shows the full details of the installation here. It takes you straight to the installation. And same thing with the leads and appoint orders. It takes you to the particular customer's details if you click there. Let me bring it up here. And there's a bit of a problem with the microphone, I think. Glen I can hear Glen very well. Yeah. No. Correct. Right now, there's no matching of Google or any calendars. Yeah. Yeah, everybody has a different way of doing it. If they use a Google Calendar or an iPhone, I'm not sure. But so this has no interface at this point in time. Yeah. You there? Yeah, no, no. Right now, the only interface this CRM has is with accounting system Zero and Myob. Otherwise, there are no interface with any other apps for the time being. There are some things being developed, but nothing is available right now. So this is the dashboard. Sorry. Yes. So when you go to the invoice section here, I didn't show. You can print and send invoice to the customer, and also have a zero. Okay, this is the customer's invoicing. You go and do the invoice, for example, after editing it. This is the invoice that's sent to the customer. This is again customizable with your own logo and your details. And if you go up here, it can connect to Zero and it produces the files required for Zero. Do you use Zero? Okay. Dashboard has a lot of control data, good for back office managers. Let me bring it up here again. Sorry, it's my internet here. I'm on a laptop, so a bit slow. So here the ongoing comments that have come up from different customers can be seen in one place. So if somebody is in the back office monitoring all the installation sales reps, they continue to come out as a log, so you can keep on top of what's going on by customers. This demo really takes about an hour and a half to really go through every module, every step, but this is just a summary. And you can look at leads and orders, quotes, installations on maps, and probably group. If I look at, for example, leads, if you got 10 appointments coming up today, can be grouped on and for example, assign all these ticked leads to a rep in that area. So that helps in group assignment of leads to sales reps, a group assignment of jobs to installers. So you can do all the stuff here. Okay. How are you going so far? Does it kind of sync with what you're looking for, and does it make sense? Yeah. No, this that's one thing it doesn't manage inventory and accounting. No, because there are so many available, easily available systems. So we didn't want to develop inventory part of it. And but it does an extensive reporting. For example, if you have five, six, 10 different types of sources, it gives you how the leads source is performing, how the status of the leads that are come through from different sources. It also helps you manage receivables, sales performance by sales reps, installations by reps, and also if you're doing multiple states, it gives you state-wise breakups like here, national breakup. So there's a whole lot of summary that's useful if you have a lot of reps and a lot of orders on hand. And adding users is also quite easy. It allows, there's a lot of security. Data is obviously, if you go here, you can add users, number of users from lead generator to sales rep to installers. Here are the different types of users. Administrator, sub administrator is somebody who can access all the data, but limited to only leads or orders. Installer can only access what's been assigned to him. Sales agency, sales reps, lead generator, lead agency, and stock user is if you have warehousing, there's a warehousing user where you kind of print a delivery docket, and it's if it's paid for, it gets printed and then stock can be delivered. So that's only for mostly franchise operations. We actually built this for franchise operations for True Value Solar many years ago, but not many people use it, so I'm not sure how useful it is. That is stock user. But otherwise, a lot of people have number of sales reps, lead generators, installers in the system. There's one company in Sydney who had 200 users in the system, so it works pretty well even for large number of users. User. The way it works is if you go to shipping here, yeah, API is with we don't give out API. We were just using API from the existing apps like Zero. We're not giving out API. Are you looking for API for something? I need to check with our IT guys what level of API we can give. Well, give me an example. I mean, we can do forms. All that you see, all that you saw right now, all that you saw, whether it's a lead, managing leads, entering leads, assigning leads, all that can be done on a mobile phone. It's just that it's not in the form of an app. Oh, I see. No, no, not at this moment. No. I can have a chat with the IT guys to talk to you as to what level of work that's required. But we don't have any API right now that can be used for Google or any calendar management. What access? API, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I said I'll talk to my IT guys. What level of API access is required, whether it can be quickly done. As far as I know, right now we don't have an API offered to developers. Yes, yes, that's in the plan for sure. Yeah, yeah. I just don't know the at what stage it is. There are quite a few asking for this API apart from direct syncing with calendars on Google and things like that. That's the part of the development for us, I guess. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there are two things we're working on. One is the converting the app this to an app for making it mobile friendly, and also second thing is to develop the APIs. We're using API from zero, for example, to give them the data, but we haven't given out our API for developers. But that's the plan. Yes, 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 and I understand. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me come back to you on that separately, Brandon. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Glenn, from your point of view, operationally, anything that's you see missing, not working, kind of thing? Do you? Yes, yes, yeah. I think the good thing I can say about this, out of the, and the thing is, because it's used by a lot of companies, the flexibility of mapping your current operation doesn't matter what level it is operating with two sales reps or ten reps, or also it allows you to operate in a franchising model. What I showed you right now is like one company operation, whereas you can use a corporate model where there are a number of franchises under you, where each franchise either has the option of using your ABN and your product and pricing, or their own product but come under your umbrella. So there's a lot of flexibility, and you can map your process onto the system as is today or as it's going to come tomorrow. That's what we find this. We get a good feedback on this. It's quite flexible that way. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. On the calendar, we were discussing doing something with calendar. Let me come back to you. On the app, the development of app is a big deal because it's a very complicated system right now. Yeah, API, yes, I understand API. Okay. Yeah, yeah, I got it. Sure. I got it. I got it. Calendar and the document upload. Understand that. So let me come back to you on that, right? Beautiful. Anything else, Glenn, from your operations point of view and sales point of view? Anything that's doesn't that comes to your mind as not here? Absolutely. I'll send you a test login. Test login, you can do the play with it. Doesn't matter. It's got junk data there. But once you're ready to go, there's also a free trial. You can sign up and create some users and actually use the system for a month. And once you're ready to go, proceed, then you'll come on board as a billing member. Sure, no problem. Yeah, I'll do that today. If not today, tomorrow, for sure. Okay, no worries. We'll do that. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Braden. Bye bye.